The 3:30 p.m. meeting of the Bakersfield City Council is now in session.
Good afternoon. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the 3:30 regular City Council meeting of July 23rd, 2023. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mayor Go?
Here.
Vice Mayor Core? Here. Councilmember Arias? Councilmember Gonzalez? Councilmember Weir?
Here.
Councilmember Smith?
I'm here.
Councilmember Coman?
Here.
Councilmember Bashir Tosh?
Here.
Thank you. In keeping with the Council's resolution, public statements are received at different times. I'll call on the City Clerk to call for public statements at the appropriate time. If you wish to make a public statement, please fill out a public speaker card, place it on the tray next to the speaker's podium. We ask that you mark whether you're here to speak on an item listed on today's agenda or in a matter not on the agenda. Speakers who do not identify specific agenda item will be presumed speakers for the non-agenda public statements. If you're here to speak on an item not listed on the meeting agenda, you'll be called first to speak. Statements are given a 2-minute time limit, 20 minutes total for all non-agenda item public statements. If you're here to speak on an item listed on the agenda, I'll call for you at the appropriate time. Everyone in attendance is expected to adhere to the rules of decorum established by resolution of the City Council. Failure to abide by the city's rules of decorum, including any disruptive behavior that interferes with our ability to have an orderly and efficient meeting, prevents the City Council from conducting the business of the city. Consider this a first warning to everyone in attendance that conduct that disrupts this meeting may result in expulsion and/or the chambers being cleared. Madam Clerk, do we have any public speakers regarding items not listed on the agenda?
Mayor Go, we have received one speaker card for non-agenda items. The first speaker listed 2 individuals, Frank St. Clair and Tracy Spencer.
Thank you. Welcome. Just step up to the microphone and introduce yourself. If you can just adjust the mic to your level, please.
Mine first?
Yes.
All right. Mr. St. Clair's going to go first.
I'll go first. And then.
Yes.
Is that how you've worked it out?
Yep, that'll work. Thank you, esteemed members of the City Council. I am Frank St. Clair, the owner of the Parkwood Apartments, and we're across the street from 3501 Weibel Road, a social hall known as Moga Palace, and it's owned by Monique Babir. He's been renting it out to groups for many years. However, over the last several years, it's become more of a nuisance in the area, and it's become louder and more out of control with large crowds. We have complained to Mr. Babir, my manager Tracy, she's going to testify this in a second, on multiple occasions, and his response was, I'm going to get you fired, and what I'm doing is perfectly okay. Tracy has talked to Frank Torres with the law enforcement, who has been in conversation with Mr. Babir also, and he's also stated to us that they're not in legal compliance with zoning codes for what they're doing. There's limits to what they can do on a social hall, and they're out of compliance. Tracy has also come to City Council meeting 3 times in the past, and we haven't. Well, you're going to testify to this. There's been no real response at this point. We have now over 200 responses from tenants in our apartment complex. It's a large complex. You've probably seen it. It's across from the bowling alley, 300 units, and we've got over 200 people signing the petition to do something about it now. On top of that, we've got local businesses adjacent to it, the Carnesia, the 76 convenience store, Howard's Mini Mart, and Bolero Bowling Alley. They've all signed a petition saying they've got a problem with it. In the case of the Carnesia and the bowling alley, the problem is the crowds are exceeding the capacity of the building. There's no parking in his lot that would satisfy having over 200 cars there, so they use alternative parking anywhere they can find it, which includes our apartment complex. Multiple incidents have been recorded by her on video of these incidents occurring. They've done some street takeovers. over the years, there's been a couple shootings at the property, and it's really gotten to the point where we have to do something about it. So I'm asking for some help here to see if we can do something about it today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sinclair. And Tracy, would you like to offer remarks? And then I can follow up. I've been involved in the situation, so yeah, thank you.
Basically, Frank has summed it up pretty much. I've been here a couple of times and have spoken to you guys about it. And we have gotten a petition together with all of my tenants. We do have over 200 signatures. My tenants do have the right to have quiet time in their apartment. They do have children they need to get down, babies, that type of thing. It's just not fair to the tenants either to not be able to have their quiet time, and I have expressed that to you guys in the past. And we just need to get to a solution on this. It's been going on for far too long, and I'm just asking that we can finally come to some kind of a solution at this point. Yeah.
Ms. Spencer, Mr. St. Clair, thank you for bringing that again before our council. In the past, I have notified the appropriate people about that, and I'll make sure to follow up. If you'd like to leave the petition just in that tray, we'll get it to the right people. And again, just very sorry for the disruption that it's causing the neighborhood, but we'll make sure that we follow up with the appropriate people.
Could you have somebody contact one of us?
Absolutely.
Because nobody at this time has contacted me or St. Clair offices.
Okay. We'll make sure that happens. I know that the police chief and his team have been engaged, but we'll make sure that somebody follows up. I'll get the information of Mr. Clegg also.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Frank and Tracy and your family, thank you for your outreach as well. You guys are at an interesting kind of boundary line within the city. So technically your property is in Ward 6 with Councilmember Bashir Tosh, and the hall across the street is actually in Ward 1 with Councilmember Audius. So my district is just south of it, and I know you had reached out, and I did try to connect, but I want to make sure that you also understand the boundaries and how it's a little bit funky in that area, but we will make sure that, staff continues to do outreach, and we get some kind of resolution here, whether staff, if we could make sure that code enforcement also, gets involved in this issue. And thank you, Mayor, for being involved with helping out to come to a solution. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Madam City Clerk, is there anyone else who wishes to speak?
Margot, we have not received any more speaker cards for non-agenda items, nor have we received speaker cards for agenda items.
Thank you. Next item, please.
New business, item 3A, resolution authorizing the issuance and sale of not to exceed $65 million in aggregate principal amount of City of Bakersfield, California wastewater revenue refunding bonds series 2025A, approving a 6th supplemental trust indenture, a preliminary official statement, a bond purchase contract, an escrow agreement, a continuing disclosure certificate, and authorizing and directing additional actions in connection with the issuance of the revenue refunding bonds.
Thank you. Mr. Clegg.
Thank you, Mayor Goa, Mayor and Council. I'll invite our Finance Director, Randy McKeegan, to introduce this topic. We've got a brief presentation for you. What I would point to is that this is distinct from our other recent wastewater conversations, but still related in that it's all connected to that enterprise. But we're happy to bring some good news to you today that overall is to the benefit of the enterprise.
Thank you, City Manager Clegg. Honorable Mayor, Council members, Randy McKeegan, Finance Director. The item that's before you for this meeting is a bond refunding opportunity that's made available to us, really connected back to the bonds that were issued back in 2007 when we did the expansion of Plant 3. So those bonds in the 2007 bonds were refinanced in 2015. And as part of that refinancing, it was structured to allow us to have the opportunity to look in those out years for cost savings. We took advantage of one of those opportunities in 2020, issued about $10.5 million in refunding debt. And now we have, in essence, a final bite at the apple, so to speak, with 8 years remaining on the 2015 debt. We are looking at this opportunity again to generate some savings. Before we move forward, excuse me, I wanted to introduce the finance team that really put together this opportunity, laying out the opportunity to save additional funds for the wastewater operations. First, we have members from the city, we have members from the water department and the finance department. Our longtime bond counsel of Kutak Rock, they actually were the counsel in 2007 when we issued those bonds. Our longtime disclosure counsel, Danny Kim, our municipal advisor, Fieldman Roll-Up, they're actually here in attendance. And during about 2 months ago, as part of this refunding opportunity, we issued an RFQ to select an underwriter. And with that selection process, with the assistance of our municipal advisor, we selected Bank of America Securities as the underwriter for this opportunity. And their bond counsel also rounds out the finance team. So just an overview of what we're doing here. Again, this is a final opportunity to build some savings related to the debt issuances that go back to the 2000 Plant 3 expansion. So the plan here, based on the underwriter's proposal, is to issue $55 million in refunding bonds against the remaining amounts of the 2015 bond, which amounts to $65 million. In addition to that, one of the things we really wanted to highlight here is we don't move forward with a bond refunding unless there is certain measurement benchmarks. And in this case, we don't move forward with refinancing unless there's a net present value savings of at least 3%. We are well above that, but what that means is, in essence, the cost of debt service for the remaining debt, it must be at least 3% lower than what the current debt service is. So that's what that allows us to make that decision to move forward. So again, related to this bond refinancing, I think one of the highlights here is that every bond refinancing we go through a review, where we should go through a review to update our bond rating. So a couple weeks ago, staff met with Standard & Poor's. Their analysis of our presentation, their analysis of the financial situation of the wastewater operation, they reaffirmed the AA rating for S&P, which is the second highest rating. The highest rating is AAA. But in essence, the AA rating means that their view, the wastewater operations have a very strong capacity to meet their financial commitments and the commitments initiated by this refunding. This refunding will be on a parity with the existing bonds, meaning that there is no subordination of that debt. The new debt will have the same claim to wastewater operational revenues. In addition to that, like all wastewater debt, it is secured by the net revenue of the wastewater operations. This debt does not commit the general fund or any other city revenues to make payments against this debt service. Again, we only move forward with these debt refinancings, refundings, if the municipal market, bond market allows that. And in the current state, you'll see in this graphic that the bond rating for the remaining years of this bond shows that we will have a true interest cost of about 2.5%. The bonds that we are refunding have a rate of 5%. So again, we're creating that savings because of that interest rate difference. This is all based on analysis by our underwriter through the July 9th market conditions. We don't expect significant swings in the municipal market when we eventually go to the pricing, which is actually going to be in about a couple of weeks. So we anticipate a certain level close enough to this savings that we will continue to move forward. This next slide is a full summary of what we're moving forward with. So on the right, you'll see the sources of this funding. And we talked about issuing a 2025 debt of $55.8 million in essence. We have to pay a premium to pay off the existing 2015 debt because it is higher rates. And then we have available funds. We already have available funds set aside in the wastewater operations for debt service. So we're drawing on those portions of that, not all of it, portions of that to come up with the sources of $70.7 million. And that will be used to initial the refunding process or the refunding of this debt. This debt will be tax exempt, as most municipal debt is. It's non-callable, meaning that there will not be an early redemption available for the remaining life of this debt. Because of one of the reasons for this no reserve fund, there's no reserve fund required because of the good financial situation. There's no significant risk of the wastewater department not being able to make the debt service, so it was built to not have a reserve fund. The debt is proportional debt service, so the annual payments are aligned proportionally with the principal amortization that already existed. And in this case, the maturity is not extended out. It will mature when that's the same time period as the date that it is replacing. So it's not extending a repayment of debt. It is actually ending when the original debt is being replaced. So what we see here is again, this is based on the July 9th analysis of the market. The preliminary results of this, as I said, we have a true interest cost of 2.45%. It estimates the savings from this. His gross savings is close to $5 million, $4.8 million. Net present value, which is adjusted based on a time value of money, is close to $4.5 million, and that results in a total savings of 6.5%. So again, looking at that benchmark I talked about, at 3%, we are double that benchmark, more than double that benchmark. So again, it's the point when we see that, it triggers us to continue to move forward with this refunding. Again, based on the current market rates, we anticipate that the annual savings to the wastewater division on their debt service will be about $582,000 a year in the first 7 years of this, and that last year, when it's eventually paid off, there would be a savings of $261,000. So, this next slide lays out the remaining debt on the wastewater bonds. So you see in the blue, this proposed refunding of 2025 is paid off by the 2032, and that remaining 2020 bond will be paid off in 2033. So in essence, by the end of 2033, the debt that was issued to expand Plant 3 will be paid off, and there will be no debt related to facilities at the wastewater division through 2033. Finally, here are some major legal and aspects of the covenants related to the refunding. Kind of wanted to touch on. We already talked about the security. It is secured by the net revenue of the wastewater operations, not general fund dollars. There is no debt service requirement. And again, I want to talk about the rates here. The rates are the rates that we charge our customers. And we are continuing on the requirement that the rates are established so we have at least 125% net revenue over the annual debt services requirements. So the net revenue is revenue above operating and maintenance costs of the wastewater operation. So rates have to be established per this debt covenant that are going to amount to this 125% net revenue over operating expenses. So that's one of the requirements of this debt, and it has been that requirement since 2007. These legal requirements, whether it be the parity, whether it be the 125% of net revenue, those are all connected to the master indenture that's been in place since 2007, so these are not new requirements. And any new debt, or this debt, or any new debt will fall under the requirements of that master indenture document, which basically lays out the terms and conditions for entities that issue multiple debts issuances. So, we are asking council to approve this resolution and the related documents that were laid out by the city clerk here. The sixth supplemental indenture, which is the sixth indenture or agreement under the master indenture we just talked about. Bond purchase agreement lays out the pricing and closing requirements of a bond sale. The continuing disclosure certificate lays out the requirements to provide annual financial updates and report any material condition changes to the SEC. The preliminary official statement really lays out is the document that investors look at to really determine whether they look to purchase this bond. And ultimately, the escrow agreement is the agreement with the third party to hold these bond proceeds to ultimately to be distributed for the defeasance of this 2015 debt. So, moving forward, after today, if council approves this resolution, tomorrow we anticipate a meeting with the underwriter to lay out and make sure we all understand the preliminary official statement to ultimately finalize it, issue it, with ultimately being issued out, and then the pricing in a couple weeks with the underwriter, the final rate that will be accomplished with this new debt, and then closing a few weeks after that will, with the final sale, and the debt will, in essence, be refunded close to or around August 21st. So with that, we have representatives from our financial advisor and members from the water department as well, if there are any questions.
Thank you, Mr. McKeegan. Mr. Clegg, do you have any comments before we go to the public?
I do not. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Madam City Clerk, do we have any requests to speak from the public?
Mayor Go, we have not received any requests from the public.
Thank you. Councilmember Smith.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple things I just want to make sure I understand. Saving money is always good. The premium, the 4.6 million, that's the cost of the refinancing, essentially.
Yeah, it's part of the cost of refinance because we're defeasing debt that has a 5% rate, so we have to pay a premium to pay it down,
So
to refund it.
the 4.8 gross savings is after that's paid.
Yeah.
So really the interest rate
It's the
saves
difference.
twice
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I understood that. And I just think off of this subject, but on the subject of sewer, wastewater, and bonding, I had asked you to provide what our total interest that we've paid since 2007, and I think I'm reading $116 million.
Yes.
So that's, and I added up the principal, and it was 133 million or so. So almost 50%
Yeah.
goes to interest
Yes.
over the long term when you bond for something like this.
Depending on the rate, but
Right,
it's
right.
good average.
So, and I understand, it's a future discussion, but I think it's good to point out that you're spending twice as much because you didn't save, because you didn't plan ahead. And sometimes that's the position you're in, but hopefully we can plan better in the future. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any other requests to speak? Don't see any. Vice Mayor?
Motion to adopt.
Oh, do you have it?
I just have a quick question.
Sure.
please. So we've gone over this section of the wastewater, but we do have another section out there that we haven't really addressed at all. And I think things will probably start building up because we're not paying what we should be paying. So I would like to have a report, not in August, but the first part of October, a report on what we're going to do.
Yeah, thank you, Councilmember Weir. That is aligned with the plan that we put together after we suspended the 218 process, that we were going to go and do additional analysis. And we'll be in that similar time frame to be able to come back to the council this fall with some of that data analysis of what really is the plan moving forward.
What do you mean by this fall?
I don't have the specific date of those council meetings, in my head, but we can do that.
Just the first meeting in October.
I think.
No, I mean September.
Well, I'm not sure about September. You had mentioned by October 1st, but we can do it in the September-October timeline. I'll double check with Ms. Budak to make sure that timeline works, but we had targeted to be in September-October, bringing that analysis back to council so that then we can move forward with our outreach and education and as well as direction from council.
Okay, so I can expect it in a couple months.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Weir. Anyone else? Vice Mayor?
Motion to adopt staff's resolution.
You have the motion. Please cast your votes.
The item is approved with Councilmember Arias absent.
Thank you. And we have no further business and stand adjourned at 3:55.